everybody, Elisa here with another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Um, Today I was going to show my bag. It's a Vera Tote. However, I do have a bunch of other videos on it, so I wasn't going to spend too much time on it, but I did want to show it because I haven't shown this particular one in this pattern. Uh-oh, here come the dogs. I don't know if you heard Peaches shaking there. Oh, it's going to be chaos in a moment, I'm sure. And then I thought really what I wanted to do was just show a few small things that I got, and a new pattern, and an upcoming pattern. And so, you okay in there? Just wedged herself in a corner probably to get away from the puppy. um, anyway, so it'll just be a few random things. Anyway, my bag of the day is the Vera Tote, the large size in Foxwood. And as I've said in another recent video about this bag, I think I probably said it, they're growing on me. I do think they're huge, and you know, they don't always work as an everyday bag for me because I think they look better when they're filled with stuff. What are you doing over there? Rosie, come here because I don't want you to fall and get hurt, okay? Play with your bunny. But I am liking them because I realize, well, I can throw a sweatshirt or a scarf in there or whatever. It accommodates a lot of stuff really easily. Rosie, I don't want you to fall. Okay, good girl. And I did want to mention something that I hadn't mentioned yet about this tote, which is that it does make use of the new zipper. Of course, the top zipper was always the soft plastic zipper. But this zipper on the front pocket is now, it used to be that rough metal zipper. But now, oh, wow, I saw the tag in there. That's when you know you have a lot of Vera and you forget to remove tags. Please stop that. Good girl. Anyway, this front zipper here is now that soft plastic zipper that they're using, and it's great. I just love that they made that little change in here because this was a pocket I would never use because of that zipper. I dislike that zipper so much. But, you know, now I can use this pocket. It's great. And it's, for people who don't know, it's on a slip pocket, and there's a zipper pocket. The back is just, you know, plain. When I saw this bag, I was going to make an return. And yeah, I walked out with this instead. It's like it was free. But when I saw the foxes on here, and this is Foxwood, and when oh my word, please stop, Rosie, God, oh my God, we've had a couple of really rambunctious days. Please stop. Have your tire or your alligator. But when I saw the foxes on here, I felt like, well, I can't pass this up. So there's one in the front pocket right there, one sort of peeking out of the slip pocket. There's another one somewhere. Oh yeah, on the back. Another fox there. And a squirrel or chipmunk over there. I didn't get any rabbits except on the bottom, but that's okay because I have a number of other Foxwood things, some of which I just bought, you know, purely for the rabbit placement. Good girl, why don't you just sit here nicely? Would that be possible? Because that would be so excellent. Yeah, I would really love that. Yeah. Okay, so in here I have all my normal stuff people can see. Oh, before I get to that, I just have to talk about the trim on this. I mean, when I was in the store, and I was hesitating, as I always do, but I put it on, which I should do just now before I forget. And when you put it on, you know, the trim faces sort of forward. And I just, you know, I fell in love with I couldn't resist that band of side trim, a wide trim. And this pattern, I think it's so lovely. I love the purple and the orange and the red together. And those little touches of lavender in there. I just think it's so nice, and even that warm orange there. I just think it's such a nice range of, these would be analogous colors on the color wheel, and I just think just so lovely, and so I just couldn't resist it with all the foxes and between the foxes and the wide trim. So I'll just put it on real quick so people can see how big it is. So you can see, and pardon the puppy mess. So you can see it's really quite large. This is the back. The front with the zipper pocket, you know, if you pay attention to that kind of stuff. If there's a pocket, sometimes I will pay attention to that stuff. Other times I don't really. So you can see what I mean. When you put it on your shoulder, this is front, you know, front and center, facing forward. It's so great. But it is quite big. I'll put the measure. I don't have my tape measure out, so I'll put the measurements in the video description. But I have playlists set up, and I have playlists on the totes, and I've got other videos where I talk about all the dimensions thoroughly. So if you just like poke around the playlists, you should be able to find that kind of information easily. And so the one thing that I've started to carry around since my dog Duke passed away is photos. And I use various ID cases for that. Please don't fall. Rosie, please don't fall. Please don't fall. Play with that. And that sort of leads me to the other things I wanted to talk about, because in here, you can, just to give you an idea, I have those ID cases, which I will talk about. I also have my regular stuff. I have a shawl that I knitted, and then, oh, so big. Then you can see how much space is really in here. My charger cord, my GPS pouch, and my charger cord pouch. My iPad mini, but my regular size iPad would easily fit in here. My laptop fits in here. Even my big original MacBook Pro, the first one, the big honking one, fits in here, no problem. In a sleeve, in a laptop sleeve. Wallet. I don't usually do matchy, but this was what I have been using. I don't have time to switch it out. I bought this for the rabbit. The reason I'm not matchy isn't because I think, you know, it's weird or anything. It's just that it makes me happy to have as many patterns, different patterns on me at any given time, one time. So that's why I do it. And I did one emptied out just to show the inside has the 6 slip pockets that everyone's probably aware of. And if you've seen some of my videos on the Carson North-South tote, the Bright tote, one of the reasons I like that tote so much is because it has interior east-west pockets. And that's perfect for, I love to slip my cell phone in that front east-west pocket inside. So that doesn't this bag doesn't have that. However, I do have no problem slipping it into one of the front, you know, more front-facing slip pockets, and then it's always, you know, easily accessible. When I say front, I mean the part of the bag that's facing this way when I put it on my shoulder, you know, that front end. So that's what I normally have in there. But what I was finding was I was using, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's over here, I think. So I was using to carry my photos around of Duke and my husband and my father. I was using, well, these campus double IDs are working well for my photos of Duke and my first dog Lucy, and I carry them on a lanyard. This is a Mickey whimsical balloons lanyard. But some of the photos wouldn't fit well in this particular shape, and so I didn't really have many other options on where it would fit, and so I was using this Deluxe Zip ID because they were fitting in here. I took them out, but they would only fit in this. They were a little bit bigger. One of the photo sleeves, I had like them in a little plastic sleeve, and it was giving it some bulk, and so I was slipping it in here in the snap part. Plus, I had a fox there that I didn't want to cover up. But I wasn't crazy about this because this does have, it's kind of thick. I've never been really crazy about this ID case. And so when I saw this new ID case design was out, I decided I would consider it. I was sort of intrigued, and it's working out better for me. I just got this the other day. This is a new item. It's the, I'm surprised they still have iconic on here. I mean, it seems like they were moving away from using that word with some of the bags. What is she doing? Oh, she's sleeping behind me now. But it's still on the tag here, and then this is a new product. So iconic RFID Deluxe Zip ID Case, and this is Garden Grove. And as people are probably already seeing from the website, you know, it opens up. And this section up here, where I have some photos, is just a clear, you know, like window, flap, bordered by fabric. And inside are a couple of more card slots here. And then there's that zipper section, and there is a piece of fabric in there as a divider. This is just solid fabric. It's not the lining pattern, which is a little disappointing. So I have some photos in there, but I keep them in these plastic sleeves to protect them, and that's making them too wide to fit in these card slots. Your regular like credit card would fit in a slot, these slots. If I took some of these out of here, they would fit in those slots fine, but I'm not ready to do that. But if I print out some more photos, maybe of Peaches or Rosie, I could slip them in here. It has a pin snap closure that one of the parts of the snap is on this tab. So I try not to keep my photos. I try to put my photos in here sort of down away from the snap part, because I know I'm going to have to put a little pressure there to work the snap, and I don't want to be pressing on my photos. What I liked about the idea of putting photos in here, because I'm never going to use this for my ID. I put my ID in my wallet. I don't keep my ID out to the world in any way. And if I were just going to carry something like this as a wallet, you know, because I'm not taking a bag, maybe I'm going to a concert and just want to slip this in a pocket or something, I would probably just cram my ID and everything in here. I'm not one to put my ID in that. But anyway, so what I liked about using this for photos, and it is a little tight because it's in a plastic sleeve, but I want to protect them because they're old. I mean, these photos are, I should date myself, but they're very old. I mean, one is my parents' wedding photograph. So anyway, so I slip that in here, and I can see one photo on one side, and then I can just open it and have, you know, the other one right there. And so I feel like I like that for these particular photos. And when you close it, of course, you know, you have to put that little bit of pressure there to work that pin snap. I'm not crazy about that, because even if you had cards there, you know, maybe you wouldn't want to press on them like credit cards or something. So I don't know, maybe a magnetic snap might have worked better there, because some of those magnetic snap closures are very strong magnets. Anyway, it's a ribbon pull tie, which is nice, and it has the loop. So, but what I did want to compare it to is because it has different stitching. It has that macro square, what I call, I don't know if that's what they are calling it, but that's what I've been calling it, because I don't know what else to call it, but it has this macro square quilting on it, which is nice, which is like what they're doing on the performance twill. And I always like it when they play around with the stitch pattern, because it gets a little dull and repetitive when it's just the same kind of stitching. And I do, like I've said in other videos, I think they're really missing an opportunity. I'm sure it's a cost thing, a manufacturing cost thing, but they really could be doing something very whimsical with their quilt stitching, and they're not. Anyway, so you can see the larger stitching there, and I do have this, which is something else I bought, which is just the coin purse. And interestingly, it's the same flower. I mean, I didn't really pay much attention to that when I bought them at the same time. I do like this particular flower because it's blue, so it's one of the less typical flowers. And I just was interested in getting a coin purse with a big flower on it, and so I got it. And so I just thought this makes actually, you know, works out nicely, because you can see how the stitching looks on the fabric, the different effect of the stitching on the fabric, which I talked about when I talk about Hadley line products in those videos, which had the micro square quilting, which I feel like really affects the drape of the fabric and the look of the fabric and makes it look a little bit more lush, a little bit more high-end sometimes. So it just shows you. Oh, I'm sorry, Peaches. Dropping stuff on my dogs. Yes, I will get that off of you. I'm sorry. Woke her up for a nap. You know, maybe not, it doesn't jump out so much in this kind of a comparison, but it really can change the look of the fabric. And again, this is nice, a nice look at this. You can see the detail work of the colors there. That lime green, just very small touches, and that bright green in there, all used to give the flowers form. To me, this pattern, which is Garden Grove, I'm sorry I didn't say that, it's the new pattern, Garden Grove. Here's the other side. I feel like this pattern is what happens when Moonlight Garden grows up. If you have Moonlight Garden, I do have a Bright Tote, I didn't pull it out. But if you compare them, they're similar, and I think Moonlight Garden is a very nicely well-named pattern, because I do feel that the colors in there on that dark navy background really do create that effect of being out at night and looking at light-colored things in darkness, almost like being in under a black light, and you see how the white and the light-colored flowers or whatever are affected by moonlight, let's say, as your only light source. And I think that fabric captures that well, but the rendering in it is a little simplistic. It's like a little childlike, very flat, not a lot of interior detail in the flowers. Here, you get a similar color, a palette, bright light flowers with sort of acid colors on a black and navy background. But yet they look so much more sophisticated because of the way they're rendered. They're just rendered with so much more detail in the actual like petals to give the flower form. I think it's a very interesting pattern. I mean, even these tiny flowers here are not just flat with no detail work in them. You can see there's detail work in them, giving them form and interest. Even these big leaves here, you see the gray on gray tone there. Nothing is just a flat, solid color, which you do get more of in Moonlight Garden. So I just think this is a very interesting pattern, which I was surprised at. And so in that that theme, so that was that. Just one more quick look at the stitching, you can see. I do like this bigger stitching. I mean, I like both, but I like this bigger stitching. It's interesting on these smaller items, but I do feel like it would be nice to get this on a bigger item, a bigger cotton item, not just a performance twill line. Maybe, you know, how about we get some cotton bag options with this macro square quilting. That would be nice. think it modernizes it a little bit. But in that same vein of, gee, I never thought I was going to get this pattern, which is what happened with Garden Grove. I didn't think I was going to be interested in it. I got a little something in Sea Life, which is also a new pattern, which I was not interested in at all. And they did show us this in the focus group that I'm in, and I said I would not be interested in this pattern. I like Sure Thing better, which I do, because I tend to stay away from those patterns that have a very obvious structure. And this has a very obvious sort of grid-like structure with the rope motif, creating these diamond shapes. If you see it on the totes, you get a more overall sense of the pattern. But it, you know, the different sea life creatures are surrounded by these the rope motif. And so the whole thing is very structured. And if you get something that's off center, it can not look good. And so I find pattern placement with these kinds of patterns endlessly frustrating, and I stay away from them. And I also just felt like Sure Thing was a little, I don't know, it just appealed to me more. It seemed softer. This seemed a little harder for some reason. I don't know whether it was the colors or that grid-like sort of rigid structure. However, I did find the use of the octopus appealing, both the color of it and just the fact of it. I thought that was very whimsical and appealing, and so I thought, well, if I ever see something with an octopus, something small with an octopus, I might be tempted. And so whenever I go into a store, I look at the Carson cell phone crossbody because I do like that, and I never saw anything with pattern placement that appealed to me. But I was in the store, and the other day I was in a Hallmark and I saw this. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go for it. I'll bite. It's not a very expensive item. I'll just have a little taste of it because I have heard, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I've heard this is a limited edition. And so what's out there is out there, and once it's gone, I don't know if that's true. But a fellow Vera fan shared that information in a group that I'm in, and I think she was told that by a sales associate at a signature store. So, you know, this is, it's blowing out a little bit. There, that's a little bit, oh, the camera always has trouble with white and black and exposing for white and black. This is not a pure white background, it's more like a cream color. And the orange is a nice deep, almost like a vermilion kind of color. It's not red. I do like that I also got the turtle. I do like the little details there, the sand dollar and the starfish and all the other different shells. I don't know what that is. Those might be sea urchins. I'm not sure what those are. Can't remember now. But when, you know, I saw the octopus full, not cut off in any way. I thought, okay. I didn't realize this at the store that I had seahorses inside. Because there was some paper, you know, tissue paper in there, and I wasn't really paying attention as soon as I saw the octopus. So I got this because I thought, well, I'll just use it for photos as I am using these. Similar in size. But I don't know that I want to cover up the seahorses now. So I'm kind of screwed. I don't know what I'm going to use this for now. Anyway. But that was this. This is the Sea Life Iconic Zip ID Case. And then one other small thing. This is just sort of a random video today. I did want to share this. This is an upcoming pattern. The sales associate in the signature store where I bought it told me they are expecting bags in it sometime after March, she said, because there's some other pattern. I can't remember the name of it, but there is I want to say something with clouds in the name of it. I can't remember what it's called, but we've been talking about it in the focus group. And that's coming out, I think, in March, and this comes out after that. This is Hummingbird Park. And there's the hummingbird. When I saw the hummingbird when I was in the signature store, they only had 4 or so items, and they were all eyeglass cases. Most of the cases, I think all the other cases were readers, those foam readers with the pattern just sort of printed on the foam, and none of them had hummingbirds. When I saw the hummingbird here, I said, well, I'll just, give me that thing. I do wear sunglasses on occasion, but more often than not, I tend to forget them. So I wonder how much use this will get. But I just thought it was so lovely, and it's like a very pale lavender, sort of dove gray, very pale background color, with all these shades of purple and lavender, and then these touches of yellow and orange, which is very nice. And I think, thinking about the color wheel, I think yellow and violet fall opposite each other. I'm not sure about that. Maybe it's violet and green that are opposite each other. Can't remember off the top of my head. But there is a relationship between yellow, I feel, yellow and violet on the color wheel, and that might be why this is working so nicely. But I am, just so people can get it's sort of Asian looking flowers, all the detail work in there, very pretty, very feminine, elegant. So I feel like some people probably are resistant to the light colored bags because they're afraid of dirt and stuff showing, which I understand that, but for me that won't stop me. I love what I'm seeing in this pattern, and I'm feeling like I probably need all the things in it. But I also am just preparing myself, because I just think it's going to be a pain in the ass to try to find hummingbirds. It's just, I am preparing for that challenging critter search. Forget about even good pattern placement. I think it might even be a challenge just to get any at all. I don't know how. Oh, it's blowing out. The light's blowing out right now. Sorry about that. I do think that it's going to be a challenge. Because I don't know how close together they are in the pattern. I have a feeling they're probably going to be very far apart, just because that seems to be what Vera Bradley does. For some crazy reason. I don't know why. Oh, it's very bright now all of a sudden, overcast. So it's hard. It's hard when it's that bright overcast. I feel like, oh, Peaches here, right where my foot is. Is that a little bit better? Maybe a little bit better. So again, after March sometime, hopefully, the Hummingbird Park. And this is just your, didn't even come with a little cloth, a lens cleaning cloth like the other ones. I don't know, maybe it's just a mistake here, or I don't know how they come now. The only ones I've ever had are from older patterns, and they all came with an eyeglass cloth, which was nice. Clamshell sunglasses case, Hummingbird Park. So anyway, those were just my little random things that I got, and I had to pack up my bag of the day and run out. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.